The Central Bureau of Investigation has filed an FIR against the Special Director of the CBI, the number 2 man in the investigating agency, alleging that Rakesh Asthana took money from a Hyderabad-based businessman by the name of Sana Satish Babu, who was operating through 2 intermediaries, brothers Manoj Prasad and Somesh Prasad, who sought 5 crore rupees from this Hyderabad businessman to settle a case that Rakesh Asthana was investigating. Now Rakesh Asthana says that this is a malicious FIR, it's a charge to take him down, to persecute him. However, the CBI is convinced that they've got strong, compelling evidence and that they can proceed against the Special Director of the CBI. Today, there were raids at the CBI office, CBI raids at the CBI headquarters in the capital, in which Deputy Superintendent of Police, Devinder Kumar, who was one of the investigating officers, was arrested. The details are mind-boggling, but at the nub of this sordid saga is the charge leveled by the director against his deputy, saying my deputy is corrupt, he's a crook, and the counter charge leveled by the special director against his boss, saying that the director of the CBI is not allowing a proper investigation, the charges are being diluted, and that the accused are not being acted against. The party that's the most embarrassed is the government and also the Prime Minister's office, because the CBI reports directly to the Prime Minister's office. So far, the Prime Minister's office hasn't been able to contain the battle. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who do we believe? We will take an in-depth look at all the muck that's flying around in just a moment from now. Before that, allow me to get you the day's big story.
उनको पॉलिटिकल पैट्रोनेज हासिल था.
It's ugly and it's destroying not just the reputation of the elite investigating agency, but it challenges the strong PM image of Narendra Modi. The CBI Director Alok Verma has filed an FIR against his deputy Rakesh Asthana, charging him with accepting a bribe of 3 crore rupees to bail out an accused. In a shameful first, the CBI raided rooms in its own office to find evidence against Asthana. The number 2, handpicked by PM Modi, has fired letters to the Cabinet Secretary and the Chief Vigilance Commissioner, charging his boss with corruption, attempts to frame him and to scuttle cases, amounting to serious misconduct. India Today has accessed the FIR by CBI against Asthana. The FIR alleges Asthana took a bribe of rupees 3 crore to settle a case against a Hyderabad businessman, Satish Sana, whose name emerged during investigation into the Moin Qureshi money laundering case. The case, pushed by Verma, is based on a complaint from Satish Sana. The CBI has named Rakesh Asthana, Special Director CBI, Devendra Kumar, DSP CBI SIT, Manoj Prasad and Somesh Prasad, and other unknown public servants as accused in the case. CBI has secured call records and WhatsApp messages. Asthana has, however, countered his boss. Asthana has complained to the CVC and Cabinet Secretary. He claims CBI Director Alok Verma framed him to shield himself. The battle started long ago, when Verma filed a dissent against Asthana's promotion, citing corruption charges against him in a case in Gujarat. The government defended Asthana and ignored Verma. Responding to a PIL against Asthana's promotion, the government defended him in the Supreme Court. Sources in the government say that alarm bells are ringing with the FIR against Asthana, as it could even lead to his arrest and embarrassment for the government. They say PM Modi may intervene. But options for the government are limited against Verma, as he is protected by a Supreme Court dictated selection and term. The BJP used to mock UPA that under the Congress, CBI is the Congress Bureau of Investigation. Now the government's misery is Congress's delight.
It's like a civil war in CBI. It shows the weakness of the 56-inch government.
Ever since Mr. Modi became Prime Minister, not only CBI, all government agencies are being misused are used for political purposes.
In a bizarre turn of events, the Central Bureau of Investigation carried out raids inside their own headquarters and arrested one of their own officer. With every passing day, the infight between the top two officials is getting murkier. With Kamran Ajay, this is Munish Pandey in Delhi for India Today.
A CBI raid at the CBI headquarters. A CBI deputy superintendent of police arrested. CBI director versus his deputy. Make no mistake, what we are seeing is totally, completely unprecedented. But who's at fault? What's the larger game at play? There are so many charges and counter charges that are flying thick and fast. We're going to try and put sense into what's happening. Joining us, I want to introduce first our National Affairs editor, Rahul Srivastava. With us, J. Gopikrishnan. He's a veteran journalist, political analyst, has been tracking the CBI and its inner machinations very, very closely. With us also on this broadcast, Abhishek Singhvi, national spokesperson, member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha of the Congress Party. Navneet Vasan is a former joint director of the Central Bureau of Investigation. I want to go across to Abhishek Singhvi first, because the government is saying in its defense that nobody from the BJP is coming out saying anything. This is an internal matter of the CBI. Do not politicize it. The Congress leaders rushing in, making comments are doing great disservice to the CBI and the Prime Minister's office. So nobody in government is interfering, because if the CBI director wanted to file an FIR against his own deputy, a man who's supposed to be close to Messrs Modi and Shah, neither the Prime Minister's office nor the BJP president actually stopped that from happening. That shows that the director has the freedom to do as he pleases. Abhishek Singhvi, opening comments.
I want to make 3 or 4 quick comments, Rahul. Firstly, I think I have never seen the nadir of an apex institution, and the CBI is not merely an institution. It is supposed to have been significantly reinforced by all special systems, that the selection committee is a very high powered, etc. After that, to see it in shambles, it is unprecedented that if you were to hear a counterpart like the FBI with the number 1 and the number 2 happening, the whole country would hang its head in shame. Now, about your 2 points, I have 2 very specific points. It has happened partly, Rahul, because you have a history of the number 2 being pushed in by methods which were at that time called questionable. He was pushed in because it was well known that he is from a western state of India, that he is very close to the powers that be, and certain peoples were strategically transferred just before he was brought in. That's point number 2. Point number 3, number 1, on the other hand, has been selected by a committee including the Chief Justice of India. So obviously he is able to wield that greater autonomy and freedom and independence which that process of appointment brings. It is the government, the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India and the Leader of the Opposition, which is a fairly strong collegium. Number 4, had you not tried to strategically push number 2 into this position, which the government is now conveniently forgetting, at that time, at the inception itself, questions had been raised about events surrounding him, about several serious allegations. So it was entirely possible to give him a respectable posting while those are being investigated. But no, you had to force that posting. You reached that posting, and then you now have this very, very unseemly fight, because it was bound to happen. These were allegations at that time floating, now they are more crystallized. So this was a recipe for disaster, originally and ultimately created because you wanted, or somebody wanted, a blue-eyed boy there.
No, but you haven't answered the question that I asked, that if this is the case and if he's the blue-eyed boy, then within the system which you're calling dysfunctional and discredited, how is it that the CBI director has the right to go out and file an FIR against his own deputy? Surely if the government was pulling the levers, they wouldn't have allowed that to happen, Dr. Singhvi.
No. I already answered that partly. Let me elaborate on that. That is happening, A, because fortunately, number one has an independence of appointment created by the collegium process I described. Number two does not. Number one is elected or selected by the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition and the Chief Justice of India. That gives it a different quality of independence, and I'm happy to see that somebody is exercising it. Secondly, that process itself has taken number one more than a year. He is on record in the public domain, your newspapers and our newspapers and everybody else's, saying that he objects at every stage. But you are saying that he is allowed to function. Are you also seeing that despite his objections, number two was pushed in? Are you also seeing that despite his objections, the CBC rejected those objections and said there's no problem, number two can do this, he can even officiate when number one is away, etc. So I think what is happening is that number one is asserting himself, but the effect of that assertion is taking a lot of time. And lastly, I have a feeling that since a few months are left for the CBI head, people are whiling away the time. And there's not much the government can do when these allegations are in the public domain. That is about the only reason. It is not that there is any virtue out of necessity, is what is happening. It's not that there is any virtue in the conduct of the government.
Rahul Srivastav, the Congress obviously taking the position of the opposition, which is only likely to be expected. But when people watch the two most powerful police officers in the country fight in the manner in which Alok Verma and Rakesh Asthana are at this time, they wonder what in the world is happening? Who's at fault here? What's going on?
Rahul, in 2013 April, I think 4th, Supreme Court had said the CBI is a caged parrot and it is his master's voice. I think things have deteriorated from that time onwards to such. At the time of the appointment of the special director, the promotion, the CBI director had objected in the meeting of the collegium. From that moment onwards, there is so much of bad blood in the CBI. Cases are stalled, investigations are being derailed. There are charges that those who are appearing for one person in one person's perception, somebody is a witness in other officer's perception, that person is an accused. This is the kind of thing which is happening in, say, for example, the Moin Qureshi case. The government is definitely guilty of not doing anything, because it is sometime in August this year that the special director, the number two, Mr. Asthana, had written to the government, the cabinet secretary, in which he had talked about a frame-up. He had talked about certain elements, that what are the goings on. Even if those were charges or attempt to push Alok Verma, the director, the government had to step in. The government didn't. The government allowed the entire thing to fester so long that in a war of egos, the number two and number one are charging each other of corruption, frame up, colluding with people. And who does the public believe? Because eventually when the CBI moves against an accused, the CBI and the government wants the people to believe that they should be believed and trusted. So going by the charges, the public should think that the number two and number one in the CBI are corrupt and are not deserving officers.
This isn't the government of Manmohan Singh, against whom the charge was that, he's not powerful enough, he's ineffectual, can't take decisions, can't pull up people, rein them in. This is Narendra Modi.
Yes.
The most powerful prime minister we've seen in recent memory.
Yes.
We had a similar fight play out in the finance ministry, senior official versus the ED. We're seeing the two top bosses of the CBI fight with each other, and the people are getting confused. Rahul Srivastav says the government is not being able to stop this fight. The government is to blame.
See, in this CBI, Alok Verma versus Asthana issue, passing of the buck stops with none other than Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. Prime Minister is responsible for this mess. Why I say, when this Asthana was promoted as special director, the director of CBI, he is not an SHO. He gave the bribery taken by Asthana as Surat Police Commissioner, and other of his cases are pending against him, so he should not be made. But we all found 10:30 on Sunday, 10:30 night, there is a appointments committee's declaration or order appointing Asthana as director. Why appointments committee headed by Manmohan, Prime Minister and Home Minister did it? And interestingly, that night, Prime Minister and Home Minister was out of town. So PM's office, PMO is also responsible, and PMO is responsible, and PM is responsible for not putting these persons on their places. So we don't need to blame anybody in this case. It is PM's department, CBI is PM's department, and PM is responsible for this mess.
You're directly blaming the Prime Minister's office and the Prime Minister.
I'm blaming Prime Minister himself. He himself
Abhishek Singhvi, it was said about Manmohan Singh that he was unable to rein in feuding bureaucrats, each drawing their power from different generators and therefore unable to stop these power games. You'd expect someone like a Narendra Modi, the most powerful Prime Minister we've had in a long time, to be able to prevent this. People should be scared of the Prime Minister's presence and not be able to play these kind of games, and they're playing themselves out in a very embarrassing fashion for the whole government and for the whole country.
I want to make 2 points, Rahul, and it's a very invigorating discussion because people are speaking frankly. Yesterday I took a press briefing in a different context, and I said that here we have, unlike Bose who used to say, give me your blood, I will give you azadi. You have a Prime Minister who says, give me your khoon pasina, I will give you a bhashan. So he's very powerful orator, but he gives too many bhashans in jumlas. And there are 2 points. There is a sin of commission and there is a sin of omission. The sin of commission has been graphically brought out by the previous speaker, I don't know who it is, who has pointed out that you insist, and that's why I said, to appoint your blue-eyed boy. You had 1 million people to choose from, but you had to only have this person because he's a strategic appointment. But the sin of omission is equally bad. After you found this fracas for at least 6 months, actually 9 months I would say, but let's say 6 months, well, you cannot change the CBI director who has been chosen by a collegium of the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition and the Chief Justice of India. But surely, Rahul, you can transfer number 2 to any other post. What were you doing insisting on keeping me there? You were creating a recipe for disaster. But you don't want to solve the disaster. You want to control the CBI. So it suits you. That's the point which is missed out, Rahul. It suits you to create a divided organization, a weak organization. Number 1, it can't be helped because he is through the Chief Justice, through the Leader of the Opposition and yourself. So you can't touch that. Therefore, you keep number 2 as a countervailing force. The 132nd job, I can transfer you as the Government of India to another respectable posting in another organization. Have you ever found, Rahul, that 1 and 2 at this level of the top are fighting and the government is not transferring? The government is transferring for every small, silly reason in other cases. And here there's a ground for transfer. But it is because you are my blue-eyed boy in a significant position.
The current situation is increasingly getting untenable, make no mistake about it. Never in the 2 decades that I've been looking at Indian politics have we seen the top boss of the CBI and his deputy. There have been internal tensions always, as there are in any organization. But for them to erupt in full public view in this fashion, I want to go across to Prashant Bhushan. I also want to tell our viewers that the Bharatiya Janata Party has decided not to participate in any discussion on this fight in the CBI. They're calling it an internal matter of the CBI, which is why there is no spokesperson of the BJP on this broadcast. But these are important issues. They need to be discussed, which is why we're carrying on with the discussion regardless of whether we have a BJP spokesperson or not. Prashant Bhushan, what is the game that's at play? What do you think is going on? What is it, according to you, that is stopping the government from coming in and saying this has gone on for too long? CBI officers being arrested, serious charges being leveled, director versus his deputy, complaints to the CVC, FIRs. Why is this happening? Who do you think is to blame? Who do you think is right? Who do you think is wrong? Let's listen to Prashant Bhushan.
Well, you see, when Rakesh Asthana was appointed as the special director, we had challenged his appointment and we had pointed out that here is a person about whom the director of the CBI himself has said that, look, we are investigating his role in several very serious cases, and in particular that Sterling Biotech case, where the diary that we have recovered, or a document that we have recovered of the Sterling Biotech company, shows that he has received large amounts of cash and money from the Sterling Biotech people. Incidentally, the Sandesaras, that is the owners of that Sterling Biotech company, have also run away, fled the country like Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi after taking more than 5,000 crores from the banks. It was also pointed out by us that this Rakesh Asthana's daughter's wedding was held at Sandesara's farmhouse, etc., and therefore he is very close to the Sandesaras, and therefore it would not be proper to appoint him as a special director in an organization which is investigating this Sterling Biotech, particularly when his own role in the matter is being investigated. Unfortunately, the CVC okayed his appointment. This whole meeting was held on Saturday, as Gopi Krishnan pointed out. It was an emergency meeting called. The director was hardly given any time to comment, though the law requires that the director has to be consulted. But however, in that short time, the director came with a 3-page note and pointed out that his own role is being investigated. Therefore, he should not be appointed. But despite that, he came to be appointed. And the results are for all of us to see, that now there are 7 cases, as many as 7 cases against him being investigated, in which there are apparently recordings, etc., of phone calls and so on, which suggest that he has been receiving money from various people. And why was it necessary to appoint him? There is no moral equivalence or equivalence between charges being made by Mr. Rakesh Asthana against the CBI director, which seem to be without any evidence and which seem to be a counterblast, because the CBI director objected to his appointment and pointed out his role in the Sterling Biotech matter and various other cases, etc. Therefore, let us not try to make an equivalence. What has happened is that the CBI director now seems to be working and acting independently, has asserted his authority. He enjoys a security of tenure on account of the collegiate appointment process, and therefore it was absolutely essential for the government. There is an FIR registered by, several FIRs registered by the CBI against him. Therefore, the man should be immediately removed from the CBI, if not suspended. Either he should be suspended or immediately removed from the CBI.
So there
is no question of any equivalence being made between his situation.
So we haven't heard from Rakesh Asthana so far. I spoke to officers who are very close to Rakesh Asthana just in the build-up as I was researching this broadcast, and I asked them what they had to say, because we must hear the other side of the story as well. So the principal charge against him is that there is a Hyderabad-based businessman, Sana Satish Babu, who claimed that there were 2 brothers, Manoj Prasad and Somesh Prasad, who were acting on behalf of the number 2 in the CBI, who sought 5 crores from him to get relief in a case which was being supervised by the special director of the CBI, the number 2 man in the CBI. So when I asked these officers who are perceived as being close to Rakesh Asthana about this charge, he says the charge itself is not correct. So he's saying multiple things in his defense. One, that they wanted to arrest this particular person who's now the complainant in this case, Sana Satish Babu, but were denied permission. He said that I asked for permission to go out and arrest this person. I wanted to ensure that he wasn't fleeing. In fact, he attempted to flee on the 25th of September. We stopped him from fleeing. So they have a defense of their own. And the problem is, sitting outside with limited access to facts, limited access to documents, limited access to the charges and the investigation so far, it's very difficult for us to guess what's happening. But I want to go across to Vaibhav Agarwal on this, because Vaibhav Agarwal, these are very, very, very serious charges, as serious gets. The CBI director thinks his deputy is a crook. The deputy in the CBI is writing to the Central Vigilance Commission saying that his boss is a crook. He's stopping arrests from happening. He's not allowing an independent investigation. Why is the Modi government allowing for this to play itself out? This is a mess. And the Congress and Prashant Bhushan are accusing the BJP government of having allowed this mess because you wanted one officer who's perceived as being close to the powers that be at the helm in the CBI, and the director is not getting along with him. Vaibhav Agarwal, what's going on?
You know, Rahul, I'm very estranged at the allegations put forth by Mr. Prashant Bhushan and Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, and I respect both the seniors. But let me bring out a few points here which are very critical to account here. First of all, Prashant ji was involved in Rakesh Sinha's expose. The then CBI director, the then UPA CBI director, who was then labeled as the Congress Bureau of Investigation. And I can rest my case here, but I will not. Let me bring out a few more accounts. And when in February 2017, Alok Verma, the current director, was appointed, even then the media had a hue and cry that Modi is appointing his blue-eyed boy. But I don't know where is this concept coming from, the blue-eyed boy concept. Now, both the appointees are Modi government appointees. Now, how can you single out both the appointees? I don't understand. That's first thing. Secondly, whatever information is there in the public domain, my learned counsels, both my seniors, you, everyone else, I would like to understand. As a private citizen, I don't have sources inside the CBI who can corroborate anything. But when we peruse the information in the public domain, there is no brawl there. It is all gossip. It is all speculation. There is not one iota of published document. Now, we are talking about here that CBI files an FIR against its own joint director.
Which delusional world are you inhabiting, Vaibhav Agarwal? The CBI has put out official statements. One second. The CBI spokesperson has put out official statements confirming that the deputy in the CBI is under probe, explaining what the charges against her. The CVC letter, the letter to the CVC written by the deputy in the CBI is available in the public domain as well. This is not gossip.
Rahul, let me clarify on this, and why am I calling this as a gossip. Look, the CBI office of the director receives a letter from whoever this Mohan Prasad or Sana guy is, and in that he's named not one person but several people. On that basis, the letter has been taken into account and a regular complaint has been filed. That's the account of true situation.
Are you aware of the fact that on the day this complaint was received, the FIR was lodged on that same day? That is not the way the CBI usually functions, because that way there'll be FIRs against any number of people, and this is a complaint against the deputy of the CBI, which means it needs to be investigated. Obviously suggesting that the CBI director at this time is pushing this investigation. He also has an axe to grind. Now, I don't know who's at fault, but this is where both sides are out to get each other. It's downright dirty.
1 minute. I don't think so, Rahul. If I can complete my opening comments. What you're saying is right. But since this is an ongoing matter and a complaint is received from within the ongoing matter by one of the complainants making himself a party to the complaint, I won't get into the technicalities of it. I would leave that to Abhishek ji and Prashant ji. But I would say this, that the complaint was brought to the notice of the special court of the CBI, and that is what the process was undertaken. So that's point number one. Point number two, when a joint director is investigating at stature of Rakesh Asthana, is investigating Augusta Westland, he becomes the center of the political ire. He becomes an interested party of the politics of Congress. For over decades, CBI is investigated, and there is an account of it. Over decades, Hawala, fodder, Bofors. I can get tired, we can get tired, and you've investigated most of the matters as an investigative journalist yourself, Rahul.
So I don't know why he defends like this, and I have no regard for Asthana. In this Malya case also, I don't have regard. He is a master of collapsing the cases, because in Malya case he has given only 161 statement to London court. He has not given 164 statement. That itself I doubt Asthana's this thing. And Asthana today CBI arrested that DSP for what? DSP Devendra Kumar created a fake 161 statement of this Sana, and CBI that too against one officer is recording a statement against director. Can you go to a police station and constable can write against SHO statement? So that kind of disintegration is happening.
Navneet Vasan, did you ever think you'd see the day when the headline on television screams, CBI raid at CBI office, CBI arrests CBI man, CBI director versus his deputy, complaint to CVC, FIR against Deputy Chief of the CBI. What's going on in your agency, sir?
The deterioration of the organization started a decade ago. You know, 2 directors of CBI are under investigation, and now you have a FIR against the special director. So this shows where the organization has come today. It has lost all its credibility, which was built over the years. There were aberrations in the past, not that CBI officers were not investigated against and arrested and sentenced. Some IPS officer worked in CBI, they were dismissed from service also, but those were aberrations. Now, for the past few years, this is almost becoming a new norm, if I call it that way.
You know, what's the one message, Prashant Bhushan, what's the one message that's going out from this sordid saga? The message is that CBI officers at the highest levels believe that other CBI officers take money to stall cases, to give tip-offs to accused about when to flee, about they're in cahoots with the investigating officers, they are skewing the case. Now, this is not one charge. The fact that the CBI is a cage parrot has been, alleged for a long while. Here, the foundation on which the CBI is built, the most powerful policing body in this country, the deputy director and the director are leveling charges that you are stalling cases, you're not allowing for investigation. Not one person saying it, is the top guy and his deputy alleging this. It shakes the foundation on which the CBI is built, Prashant Bhushan.
Just because the special director has also made some allegations against the director in some complaint to the CBC does not mean that the director and the special director are equivalent. The charges against the special director are well documented and are certainly very serious. They are based on tangible evidence that has been collected by the CBI, such as the diaries of those people of that Sterling Biotech company, etc., which show large amounts of payments having been made to him, to the special director. And therefore, in such circumstances, it was totally foolhardy and foolish to make such a person, to appoint such a person as a special director. And the consequences of that we are all seeing today.
Rakesh Asthana is investigating politically sensitive cases like the charges against Christian Michel, like the charges against Vijay Mallya, which is why your party, the Congress, is gunning after him, because if Christian Michel is brought back, Sonia Gandhi will be in the line of fire, Ahmed Patel could be in the line of fire, which is why Rahul Gandhi is feeling the pressure and saying all the kinds of things that he is. If Rakesh Asthana were indeed the blue-eyed boy of the Prime Minister, then surely the CBI director couldn't have filed an FIR against him. Let's listen to Mohammad Khan.
The fact is that if you believe that these crimes have occurred, then any officer would be well equipped to carry out these investigations, unless you feel that this particular officer will arrive at the conclusion that you want. So when you say that, you damn yourself. Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal said a lot of things as well. I would draw his attention to the statement issued by the CBI yesterday. Yet again another first in our nation's history, where the CBI came out and their official spokesperson called Mr. Abhishek Dayal issued a statement saying that the allegations made by Mr. Asthana have been made to deflect the charge of receipt of bribe money by CBI Special Director Shri Rakesh Asthana. So this does not bode well. To add to what Mr. Prashant Bhushan was saying, these are not charges being made on a whim. These are charges backed up by substantial evidence. There is a very large FIR, contents of which have been reproduced in some newspapers today. An entire chronology of events has been provided. This also answers your question, Rahulji, when you said that was the FIR registered in haste. The facts that have been reproduced point to a trail of corruption, and one that demands investigation.
In this very ugly saga that's now playing itself out, what do you think is happening next?
Rahul, it seemed that till day before yesterday, it was the Prime Minister's office was not really interested in it. But in the last 2 days, there has definitely been certain amount of interest. There is a certain amount of displeasure at the way
but
things
there was no meeting
things
today.
have rolled out.
There was a story
no meeting.
running. We spoke to one of the officers saying, did you go to the Prime Minister's office? Did you meet his principal secretary or the Prime Minister? He said, nobody called me. I'm sitting in my office.
There was no meeting. But definitely there is a huge sense of discomfort.
Sure.
They want to do something. Why nothing has been done is worrying, because this is not an injury, this is gangrene. a senior minister in the government said that anywhere else this would have been called a gross misconduct. Both of them would have been removed till the time charges they have leveled against each other are settled. Right now what the government is facing a situation that the premier agency is totally like a misguided missile. And remember what we were told today, that it is one of these people involved who are directly responsible for the dilution of the lookout notices against Vijay Mallya, which eventually helped him escape the country. Now, given that such high-profile cases are suffering because of this battle, I think the government should have acted yesterday, not tomorrow.
What we are seeing unfold is the most consequential story of the day. This has never happened earlier. You've never had the director call his deputy a crook, the deputy allege that the director is preventing arrests, preventing investigations, diluting lookout notices, making a mess of the whole case. These have been charges that have been leveled in the past. The BJP leveled them at the Congress when the Congress was in power and vice versa. This is the first time these charges are coming from within the CBI. For reform, the CBI itself needs to be probed. These charges are very serious. They cannot be taken lightly. And most importantly, some kind of a resolution needs to be found. You can't allow this sordid saga to play itself out in this unholy fashion. To all my guests who've joined me on this special broadcast in the newsroom, Abhishek Singhvi, Navneet Wasan, Prashant Bhushan, Gopi Krishnan, Mohammad Khan, Vaibhav Agarwal and Rahul Srivastava, thank you very much.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.